Okay, hello everyone. I am Michelle Arbori, the founder of this group, Savvy Women of Social Media, and we are joined today by Shoshana Chaim. So thank you so much for joining me today. I know it's been a while since I've done interviews and I've missed doing them. So this is our first one for 2022, so I'm so excited. Later on at the end, I will tell you who else is being interviewed for this group. And if you have a topic that you would like to discuss in this group, I am looking for people to start interviewing in June and July. So make sure to let me know. But today we're joined by Shoshana Chaim, and she is a Canadian wellness expert who works with families to guide them on their holistic journey so they can improve cellular communication and achieve their health and life goals by meeting them where they are. She also teaches her tools to health practitioners and entrepreneurs so together they can make the world a healthier and happier place. She is the founder of Plant Trainers with an interest in redox signaling technology and plant-based nutrition. Shoshana is the co-host of the popular Plant Trainers podcast, helping people improve their quality of life through plant-based nutrition. Shoshana is an international speaker and #1 best-selling international author of I Am a Peaceful Goldfish, a picture book that teaches children the importance of mindfulness and taking big breaths in a fun and imaginative way. She lives in Toronto with her husband and 2 children. Welcome, Shoshana.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. It's very humbling, but thank you for having me, Michelle.
Oh, I can't wait. So I first met Shoshana, during COVID actually is when I really started doing virtual network. We're a part of the same networking group, FemCity. And if it wasn't for COVID, I probably wouldn't have met you. So this is, a bad thing, but a good thing. So
Definitely some positives throughout COVID. And I actually found that throughout COVID, especially at the beginning, people finally had a little bit of extra time to start taking care of themselves, which for me is huge. Just seeing people putting themselves first, using their time wisely, that was huge.
So that leads into my first question. What really got you into health? Was it way before COVID? Was it during COVID?
So I've looked at health very differently over the last 43 years, or from the time I started thinking about it. But at the beginning, I was into health because I was active and I was athletic and I was a teacher, and every teacher needs a side job. So I became a personal trainer when I was on mat leave with my first child. So that's how I kind of got into health in the first place. But then my idea of health and my holistic understanding of health and how the body really works began when I was told my husband had a tumor and heart disease when I was pregnant with my second child. And we almost, I was told 3 times basically that I might need to raise my kids on my own. So that really, really changed our perspective into not everything that goes through the medical system is right. Not everything should necessarily be trusted, but they should be red flags into looking into what else can you do to take control of your own life to create better health and happiness and be here long-term for your family, whatever your family might look like.
Is your husband good now?
My husband is good now. He had his 48th birthday on Saturday.
Oh,
and yeah, and this was, my daughter's going to turn 12. So this was almost 13 years ago already.
Wow, that had to be so scary.
It was quite scary. And the people around me were really my rocks. They saw what could be, and I just kept seeing what I didn't want to be. So it was really hard emotionally as well, but it got us on the track of saying, what are we doing in our day-to-day lives that is creating this kind of problem? Because we were thin, we were fit, we were athletes, personal trainers. He was a phys ed teacher. So what is it that's going on that's creating the situation? And when we learned a little bit more about nutrition and we went completely plant-based, he actually found that the tumor started shrinking and the heart disease went away completely. Wow. So that's really what got us on track to creating the Plant Trainers podcast. Was not everybody needs to be 100% plant-based, but people need to understand and know the facts and know the situations so that they can then make their own lifestyle choices themselves or change things dramatically or just a little bit. And, from there we started getting called to speak at health conferences across North America and speak with some of the leading experts in plant-based nutrition, from the documentaries like Forks Over Knives and What the Health and Cowspiracy and things like that. And it was just an amazing ride, which led to me leaving teaching, getting nutrition certifications, and kind of becoming a health expert in that way.
Oh, that's so cool. A bad situation, but turned into good, really.
Once again.
Yeah. Now are both your kids into the plant-based and all of that as well?
Yeah, so our kids call themselves a little more, they're more vegan than
Okay.
plant-based. They have a greater connection to the animals. And I think that, they have a sense of health, and they have a sense of values for our families. But at the end of the day, to them, they can't eat an animal. For my husband and I, although it's become that after so long of not eating it, it's for our health and to be as healthy as possible, and to create longevity and be here happy and healthy with our kids. There have been times along the road where it hasn't been enough, especially for me. I've had some other health issues along the way, but having my eyes opened to, there are things outside of the conventional ways that can help us in a really, really impactful manner, has given me my life back, has given so many of my clients their life back, and allowed us to work more in our businesses as well and create more because we're here and energetic and happy.
That's awesome. Now, I forget what you said. Does your husband still is a physical trainer or a teacher?
So he's a high school PE teacher, athletic director, and I mean, we're still both personal trainers, but we don't do too much of that. But in our regular health coaching that we do, we pull ideas in from there, but we don't stand with people and help them lift weights anymore.
Well, that's cool though. So how has your business hindered your health, do you think?
Well, I think it's which came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing. But about 7-8 years ago, I think it's going to be 7 years ago this June, I ended up leaving teaching, starting my health business. And in Canada, you make a pretty good salary as a teacher. So I walked away from that salary and thought that I could take over the world with my health coaching. And although my clients were getting amazing results, I didn't have enough clients. And that caused this huge ripple effect for me, where I knew that because I'd been in the situation where I thought I was going to have to raise my kids on my own, provide for my kids on my own, I want to be able to provide for my kids the same lifestyle as we have now, if not more, if my husband were to lose his job or anything else were to happen. And in starting my own business, that wasn't happening. I was barely breaking even at the end of the year, and my accountant wasn't very happy with me after the first 2 years. So that put a lot of strain on me mentally. It affected my hormones. I couldn't get out of bed. I was lethargic. I was falling asleep at the wheel. The kids were late for school every day. Even the sound of their laughter was like nails on a chalkboard for me. I couldn't listen to that. I'd yell at them for laughing and then cry because I just yelled at my kids for laughing. So my business has really impacted my health, or I should say it did impact my health at that point. And I just kept going downhill. It was a full year of trying everything, Western medicine, naturopaths, chiropractors, all of that. And I couldn't get results. So I really needed to open up my eyes once again to see what else is out there and why isn't my body functioning when my lifestyle is completely clean and should be supporting that. And I think that my business did have a big part to do with that, along with PTSD from what I went through with my husband.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. So going through that, what did you finally find worked, and how did you get through that?
So I had tried, like I said, I tried so many different things, so many different superfoods, so many different practitioners. And one of my husband's colleagues is the daughter of naturopathic doctors who were MDs before that. And they've got the best of both worlds. And she was experiencing a little bit of a thyroid issue, had never been on Tylenol, antibiotics, no conventional medicines before. And what they had and what they were giving her wasn't working. So they did some digging and they understood how the body works, how the cell works down in the mitochondria when we produce ATP. And that might be, that might be another language to some people, but some people might get it, the energy system and the communication in the body and the cells and the way that the cells are creating in their little mitochondria factories, the process in which the body needs to work. They understood that, and they were able to find a product that was stabilized for delivery to people's homes to refill our cells, increase the communication between the cells so that the body could then work. So if I was taking high levels of vitamin D or high levels of vitamin B, right? Keeping it simple, the things that we've heard of, but my body wasn't absorbing it, or my body wasn't knocking on the door of the cell next door and saying, hey, we've got some extra vitamin B here, take it, let's make more energy. My body wasn't communicating like that. And this is essentially the communication for it. So I didn't really know about this, but I learned about it, and I knew that the rats in the experiments, they were running 70% times faster and recovering faster and wanting to go again. People were getting better from gut and inflammation and immune issues, cardiovascular issues. The bodies were healing because they had more of this natural substance in them. And I just said, I want a piece of that. Like if I'm working so hard at trying to get better, but I'm not getting results, I want a piece of that, because that could be my answer and why all these other good things that I'm doing are not working. And I had accidentally had a naturopath appointment the next morning. We took a few tests. I was over 35 on the adrenal scale. I could barely think, I could barely drive. 5 weeks later, I went back a completely different person. I can't say that I was completely healed 100%, but I was more like me again. And I wanted to work again. And I was helping provide for my family again. And I was dancing with my kids again. And my whole world just turned around from there. Also, at the same time, giving me another stream of revenue, which my accountant was happy with, because I knew about it now. This was something that I can offer to other people as well.
Mm-hmm. And did your family get on board with it and all of that too?
They were on board with anything that was going to give them their wife and mother back, basically. It was a long year, and I didn't know what was coming up next for me if I wouldn't have found an answer. So they were 100% on board, not necessarily with their understanding of what I was doing, but the fact that I was doing better. That's all they cared about. And that what was really important for me and them also is that the other things that we use in our life, like meditation, like the nutrition, like these redox molecules, is that it's not coming with anything else that's going to continue to hinder the body as well, because there's a lot of good things and a lot of toxins that could come at the same time. So it's really important for us to be as clean as possible.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm trying, I've had a hard health struggle, I should say. I want to get healthy. I want to do all the right stuff. I do for a couple of days or a week, and then I fall off track. How have you been able to stay on track and just keep it going? How do you stay so consistent?
So I stay consistent, number one, because I know what it's like to be at the bottom and never want to get there again. But that doesn't keep me good. That's not what keeps my hand out of the chip bag every day necessarily, right? But what I do for myself and what I do for a lot of my clients is, what's the easiest thing that's going to get me the most impactful results as quickly as possible? Because when I feel better, when I have more energy, when I've seen results, I want more, right? We always want more. It doesn't have to be a selfish thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but we always want more. So how can I put in minimal effort for the biggest impact of that minimal effort? And then there's trust. So I have some clients who used to come to me and say, I'm never willing to go plant-based, so I can never hire you to help me. And then finally I was able to say, I have something where you don't have to change what you eat. And then in the back of my head, I go, yet. You don't have to change what you eat, but you still deserve to feel better, right? So we incorporate these molecules. They take them twice a day, or they rub it onto their their thyroid, or they rub it into their sore muscle, or they rub it. I just burnt myself as we were talking before this interview. I burnt myself with my hair curler. And, so we apply the Redox from the outside, or we could drink it from the inside. And then what happens is clients start calling me saying, you know what? I started making salads again, or I started cooking from scratch again, or I'm not doing window takeout 5 times a week anymore. Right. Because there's sometimes a difference in the kind of takeout we take out. But when you can start to think clearly, your brain fog has gone away, your energy has improved, your mood has improved, and your physical ailments are feeling better, you could then make other changes in your life, like meditation, like some light exercise, like eating better, like smiling more, and it just progressively gets better from there.
So our family during COVID, we did a lot, even though we couldn't be out, we went for rides and would always be around dinner time. Well, we're hungry. Well, we got a lot of fast food. We gained a lot of weight. How did you stay healthy during COVID? Did you cook more because you couldn't go anywhere? How did COVID affect your health and your business and all of that?
So COVID affected our health. At the beginning, it affected our health positively in a physical way. Okay. Because we're an active family already. We're blessed with a home gym, with a treadmill, with an exercise bike, with weights, and with the Peloton app. Yeah. So we were able to say to the kids, and things were really, don't forget, I'm from Canada. So things were, and I think similar to New York, New Jersey, things were really shut down here for a while. You had takeout from restaurants that might have even been closed for a while. But, I was doing big shops. I was buying a lot of frozen foods, a lot of soups and stews. The kids knew that twice a day they needed to do some kind of exercise, whether it was their gym class from school that they were doing online, or whether it was going down on the bike while they, or doing push-ups and sit-ups while we watched a family show. Those were some of the things that we did at the beginning. In the last year, we weren't doing that as much. So me, after, every 40 birthday is a little bit different, and your body changes a little bit more. So yes, I did see that I cut back on some of the exercise that I was doing because my business was doing so well. And because I had so many clients, I let myself slip a little bit, and I see that. And because restaurants were open again, we did do a little bit more takeout. But at the beginning, I put on my jeans every single day just to make sure that I would still fit into my jeans every single day, but that I was doing the work to do it. But I could promise you that if this was 8 years ago, or 5 years ago, I would not have been able to do that. Yeah. I would not have been able to do that at all. We would have had to do frozen meals every single night, or my husband would have had to step up even more. And I could not do anything other than a walk or light yoga. And it was the middle of March, April. There was no light walks unless you bundled up. So yeah, so all of that to say, sometimes you need to know what to do. Sometimes you need to feel accountable to somebody else, because you don't know, for me, it's like posting on social media. When I know somebody's watching my social media, I feel accountable to them to post more, or if I'm working with a coach, I'm responsible to them. So the same with the health. But overall, my business, people were ready to start making changes. People were ready to say, I don't have to feel this discomfort in my fingers every single day. There must be something else. Or I don't have to feel this exhausted every single day. There must be something else I can do. And people finally had that extra time to listen and to make choices. So for me, that was huge, just to have the joy of being able to help so many more people.
Yeah, I know with COVID, it's so weird. Even though it was a bad situation, I think a lot of businesses pivoted, but also grew in a way. I gained new clients. That I love working with anybody in the United States. I do, but a lot of my clients were based in Rochester, New York, because I was out networking and in front of people and this and that. But with COVID, it made me really, network online, and I was able to get clients outside of Rochester, and it was really, really fun. And then I got to meet you. But it was really fun. So I could say with COVID, it's really changed my business as well. So with that, how has your business changed over time?
So when I first left teaching, um, in that month before the summer, my goal was to be the most coveted kids yoga instructor there was. I had a fresh kids yoga certification. I was really connected to young kids and the classroom, and that's where I was going with that. And I was going to do a little bit of health coaching on the side. And then I understood how, I mean, we already did have a global presence, but how I understood how I could tap into that more. And then that kind of switched to the health coaching with a little bit of yoga on the side to keep me connected to the classroom. Well, like I said, great results with my clients, but not enough clients, definitely not enough clients, having no business background before being a kindergarten teacher. So from there, I got a lot more back into yoga. And then when I got sick, I wasn't working at all. We were just keeping the podcast alive. That's all it was about for us. And then when my energy came back, when I was me again, I was so excited about nutrition, hydration, movement, stress management, sleep. And I had a really, really big understanding and appreciation for supplementation when appropriate, not over supplementing the body just because, but really looking at what's going on and how do we address this issue. And the supplementation really took the forefront for me with this redox molecule because of how safe it is. Olympic athletes are allowed to use it because it could be topical as well. And some of the other amazing products they've come out with. I never thought I would align with a company before, but I did. And what I love about it is that it does a lot of the back work for me that I wasn't quite good at before. I was doing the coaching, so there weren't so many products, although I was doing some affiliate stuff, but customer service is, and product and shipping and all of that, I don't have to do that anymore. I was running to the post office with a hat and a t-shirt and this and that. I didn't have to do that anymore, and I could concentrate on what people needed help with, and just do my own thing and not worry about the marketing and the packaging and all of that. I could teach. I love teaching, so I can get on Zooms. I could teach. I could go in person. I could teach, and then I could help my clients through the process. And the best part is, a lot of them, they don't even pay me. They pay for product, and the rest gets taken care of. And so I never, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I never would have thought that network marketing would be something that I'd be part of. But it just, the results are just too big to say no to for other people. So that's really how my business has morphed. And I wanted to let go of a lot of the yoga because I felt like I didn't have enough time for the other things that I was doing. And with COVID and everything shutting down here, that gave me that opportunity to say, thank you very much for that chapter of my life. If I ever want to go back there, I can, but let me focus on giving moms their mom life back, giving entrepreneurs the opportunity to work again. That was what was really important to me.
And I think, and I can tell you're very passionate about it. When you love what you do, you don't mind getting out of bed and going to work. On a typical day, if I have no appointments, I'll sit here, no hair, no makeup, in my pajamas, but I love working. And even on days like this, I don't care if I have to do my hair and my makeup. I love working. And I know so many people who just get up and just do the same thing over and over and over again, and they're just so unhappy. So with that happiness, don't you feel that it rubs off onto your clients and then they really want to learn from you?
Yes, absolutely. They do want to learn. And I mean, that's what, when I say I feel like myself again, I think that's huge for people, because I think so many of us have been or still are lost.
Yeah, yes.
part of it is like this midlife of, what am I doing? Am I waking up and doing the same thing every day? And is that really what I want to be doing? And part of it is I'm too exhausted to even try to start something new.
Yeah.
We should have the energy to do it. People blame a lot on aging, and even doctors will be like, oh, that's normal for someone your age. But what they're doing is they're comparing us to someone our age in the general population in North America with takeout food and less exercise and more medications. They're comparing us to a sick society as opposed to comparing us to our full potential of what we really can be. So I had this woman, and she came to me because her husband had some blood sugar issues. And she thought that if she did my protocol, that there would be a bigger chance of him doing the protocol. And I said to her, is there anything wrong? No, there's nothing wrong. My life is fine. I do what I do. I can manage. I'm good. She didn't share anything about her health with me. Well, after she started my protocol as well, what she saw is that she was much more agile. She was able to garden again. And what I didn't know, and we get so used to how things are and don't realize that this is not normal.
Mhm.
Because she figured people her age, this is normal. She had to lift her foot, Michelle, to get into the car. Her hip was hurting her so much. She needed to lift her foot to get into the car. Now, for this, that had become normal and status quo for her. Well, when we eliminated that, and now how much she could help out with the grandchildren more and garden more and get places faster so she can get to her clients faster and get out of there faster and have more time for her husband, the way that it impacts life is huge. And when you're in pain, it's harder to smile. It's harder to tell a joke. It's harder to be in a conversation looking at somebody in the face, whether you're on Zoom or in person. So the impact it has, but we get used to not feeling good. So that becomes our baseline.
Yeah. And I think with these past couple of years, everybody has just really gotten depressed and sad, and we got comfortable with what we were doing. So with that being said, how do you recognize when you're not at your best, and what do you do to get back to feeling yourself again? Because we all lose ourselves, no matter if you're healthy or not, we all lose ourselves.
We do. And I think that, after this conversation, people are going to be thinking back on some of the key things that we've said, right? Like we have brain fog, or we don't have enough energy, or we're moody, or there's parts of our body that hurt, or we know that there's hormonal issues that are just pulling down this fatigue in our body, what have you. So the first thing to do is there you go, right? So the first thing we need to do is we need to recognize it and say, like, what can I do better? Are you hydrating? Right? Are you drinking a minimum of 2 liters of water a day? Different people need different amounts of waters depending on how much exercise. I don't want to stress anybody out with 2 liters, but I would say if you know that you're drinking 1 mug of water and that's getting you through the whole day and it's barely gone at the end of the day, then work on that 1 mug. And then once you've got that 1 mug down, go to 1.5 mugs, right? So just work your way up. Are you eating well? Are you eating breakfast? Are you not eating breakfast? And not everybody necessarily needs to eat breakfast. Different things are going on these days, but what is your breakfast?
I'm not a breakfast person. I never have been, but since January, and I've been really consistent with this, I've been doing my smoothies every morning. I drink 2 smoothies every morning. I make enough for 4.5 cups. And that's what I drink every morning.
So you're setting a great example for everyone watching, because you're getting fruits in, you're getting vegetables in, maybe you're getting some nuts and seeds or some other kind of protein base in there. Amazing. You want to make sure that you're getting these things in throughout the day. Is there a fruit or vegetable, preferably a vegetable, at every meal that you're eating? How can you put one more color on your plate? So those are some of the things that you could do in terms of nutrition and hydration. And then what about movement? Right? I'm not telling anybody to go run a 10K race if you haven't been exercising at all, but maybe start using a washroom that's the furthest one in your building or in your house or what have you, so that you're getting a few more steps in. Maybe when you go out to check the mail, you walk a full way around the block first, depending where your mailbox is. What kind of things are you doing to get your body? Are you stretching in between Zoom calls, right? What are you doing to reduce your stress management? Right? So are you eliminating some of the tasks that you have? Are you eliminating people who don't need to be in your life every single day, but are always creating negativity around you? Are you turning off your notifications if you put out a post and everything's negative coming back, right? So for me, in terms of the redox, that's been a huge help. And then this other proprietary blend that I add to my water, so like it's a redox mood, and what that does for me is huge. I mean, I traveled for the first time in 3 years. I do really good in these kind of social situations, small social situations, but put me in a room with 2,000 people, I'm not good. So sending me to Vegas, for the first time in 3 years that I'm actually leaving my family and getting on an airplane, that was huge for me. So that really helped me stay stable and grounded. And sleep, right? Are people getting enough sleep? And that's also that can make a huge difference for mind fog. That can make a huge difference for your body discomfort, aches and pains too. Are you getting quality sleep? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you going to sleep early enough? Those are some of the things that you can just do on your own. And then, when it does come to supplementation, what do you need? What are you missing? And is your body communicating? Because if your body's not communicating, these molecules we make 10% less every 10 years after puberty. So by the time we're 40, 50, 60 years old, we're significantly depleted, which should be okay. But the amount of toxicity that we're exposed to, and the amount of stress that's going into our body, and the oxidative stress, and the way that our cells are breaking down at a faster rate, something's got to give. Something's got to give if we're not living a really clean lifestyle. So what do we need to do to keep the body at its peak? And when you feel better, you act better, you're better in your business or your job, you're better.
You're a better mother, better wife.
Yeah, you present better on social media, right? People can see right through you. When you put on a smile and a baseball cap, if that's a real smile under the baseball cap, or if you're hiding, our audiences can see it. So we've really got to show up and be our best. It's not for anyone else, for ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. When you're happy, everybody's happy. So when you feel like you're not at your best, which area of those 5 pillars that you talked about are you slipping from, and that what do you have to do to get back to be your best?
Right. So I know that there's a certain amount of supplementation I need to be at my best. And if I need to take more supplementation, sometimes it means that I am slipping in one of those other 4 areas. So I might need to bump some other stuff in the meantime, but I really go back to sleep, right? I go back to sleep usually first. I'm staying up late. Maybe I feel like I need a treat, so I'm watching Netflix at night. Or maybe the other night we forgot to put the fan on in the ceiling. So, right. So I didn't sleep very well. So is there something keeping me from sleeping well, or is it me? Am I burning it at both ends, staying up really late and waking up really early? So sleep is huge for me. And then I guess the other thing is hydration. I could find myself so busy in the day where I come back to the mug or the bottle or what have you, and I haven't drank it. So those are the first 2 places I normally look. Stress, there's always stress. But it's how we deal with it. And I will deal with it better when I'm sleeping better and when I'm hydrated as well. So it's all very connected.
And what I found, because for a while I was having trouble sleeping, and my husband, he'll go to sleep, but then he'll wake up. What we have found, well, he just found it. He doesn't believe in like oils and all of that stuff. He doesn't believe in all of that until he tries it. So I've been doing a diffuser every night with lavender oil that really does calm me and makes me fall asleep quicker. Honestly, if I miss a night, like last night, I missed a night, I didn't fall asleep as quick. With him, we started putting it on his wrists and he started breathing it in. He would sleep the whole night. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh my God, it worked. So even just something simple like that, trying a diffuser with lavender, that really does help. I don't want to say take melatonin. I tried that for a while. It worked, but then it stopped. But that lavender oil really, really does help. Do you do anything like that?
Yeah, so the lavender oil can really, really help. So there's 2 things there. One, the lavender oil does bring down the nervous system, does really help. The other thing that I do with a lot of my clients is I set up a nighttime routine for them,
Mm.
right? We did it for our babies, we did it for our toddlers, and then somewhere along the way, kids get old enough, we stop reading them books,
Yes.
and we never go back to an evening routine either. So the similar time every night is really important. Washing your face. Men don't like to wash their face. Well, you know what? Wash your face, and wash your face with something that smells nice. So maybe it's a lavender infused bar that you're washing your hands with, or you're washing your face with, and you're smelling that. And I like to incorporate scent into people's evening routines, because that doesn't just necessarily bring down the nervous system, because not every scent will, and not every lavender even oil is created equal. But
and that's to be true. I tried a lavender oil from Target, thought it smelled okay. It doesn't work as much than what I'm using now.
Yeah, and I would say that there are a couple of companies that are really, really good at what they do. If you're buying it on a shelf, unless you're in some like small little boutique and the label, don't even bother, don't even go there. But the scent itself can trigger the body to say, oh, I know this scent. This is the scent that I smell before I go to bed. Just like we smell something and it triggers a memory from when we're a kid, or you walk in and you smell like melted chocolate and you kind of feel your saliva glands start to go, right? So having that smell at night can really trigger and tell the body it's time to calm down. Also, blue blockers is really great too. They're glasses, you can buy them on Amazon. They're glasses that block out the blue light that come from our computer or come from our phone that stimulates the body. So if you have to be on the phone 30 minutes before bed, an hour, 2 hours before bed, put the blue blockers on so that or some people have blue blocker built right into their screen. I don't think it's necessary. I haven't done the research. My kids have it. I tell them it's not enough because I don't really know, but they're my kids, so I can tell them. I don't want to put false information out there. I don't know if it's enough, but wearing the blue blockers can help, because we don't want to stimulate the body for daytime when, that's why we draw the curtain.
Yeah, I fall asleep at night with
the lights. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's funny. So how have you helped others grow their business?
So how have I helped others grow their business? I think that there's really three things that I have done here. Number one is when you get your health back on track, when you feel more energetic, when you're taking less days off work, when you could have longer hours or be more productive within the hours that you're working, your business grows, right? You're happier, you're healthier, you can give more, your business grows. So that's kind of a given right there. Number two is I do have a number one, I can't even say it properly because it's weird coming out of my mouth. The Plant Trainers podcast is a number one podcast out of 1% podcast out of all 2 million podcasts out there. We've been podcasting for 7 years. So what I don't normally tell people is I will help people with their podcasts. I'll audit what they have going on and give some suggestions for growth or cleaning things up. And same with the book. When my book, I Am a Peaceful Goldfish, came out, it was a number one bestseller on Amazon by 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So I will help people with their book launch. Also, I love turning one contact into 15 sales. That's kind of where I excel and help people with. So I've definitely helped people in that realm as well. And then, in terms of the redox molecules I work with, what have happened is a lot of my clients have gotten such good results that they've told other people about it, or I've approached and taught other health practitioners about this tool so that they can use it with their own clients or patients in their business, which becomes a stream of revenue for them again, whether they want to offset their costs $200 to $300 for, a car payment or groceries a month, or turn it into a viable business. If you work at a business like this, there's really no cap. The key is that you do need to work. Anybody who tells you don't need to work, that's not true. So those are really the three ways that I've been able to help people. But for me, the number one way is, how can I help you tap into your full potential so that you could give as much to what you're doing already?
So now you're an author. What made you want to write a children's book?
So
I wrote what it's about.
Sure. So I'm a peaceful goldfish. No, here it is. It's always nearby. I'm a Peaceful Goldfish is a book that I originally wrote 7 years ago. And I wrote it while I was still teaching, right after my son had had a tantrum and I couldn't do anything about it. Telling a 5-year-old to take a deep breath and just calm down because everything's going to be okay in the moment is not going to work. If you practice deep breathing before, then you can get some momentum with it. And that's something that I understood as a kindergarten teacher. I just never taught him the tools in advance because he was an early talker. He was a good communicator. Tantrums weren't a normal thing until later on when the issues got bigger and he didn't have the words to communicate the emotional things that he was feeling. So I had gone downstairs and I had written out the words and drew some really bad pictures and started reading it to him and quickly realized that this can't just help him. It could help so many other kids as well. And I was going to self-publish it and then decided to figure out how to get it published with a real publisher. And I found it went year by year, a year to figure out what to do, a year to find an agent, a year to find a publisher, 2 years to get the book out. And finally in April 2021, the book was published everywhere. If you're Canadian, Indigo, American, Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, and basically just takes kids through their regular daily oopsies, broken toys, ripped books, ice cream that spills, and then they see the goldfish and they go, well, those goldfish are so peaceful. I want to be like them too. So they take a deep breath in, and when they take their deep breath out, they are the goldfish. And then it goes through other little toys in their environment to give them ideas on what they can be next. And it's child-led, child-centered. And I'm really proud of how, it was really important for me when I worked with Lori Joyce Smith to create the illustrations, to get as many different children to recognize themselves somewhere in the book, because I had been a private day school teacher for a long time, and it was very easy for my children to see themselves in the books that I read, but I wanted all children to be able to identify with this book. And not just my own personal children or my own students. So I'm really proud of it. It's done really well. And I think it's a classic.
I think it's a good book. So what are some of your secrets to business success? Now that you've done what you've been doing for all these years, what have you found works?
I think relationships work. Relationships work. I mean, there are certain products that you can put ads out for, and people will buy them because they seem trendy or they seem cool. I don't know how far that gets them, but in terms of creating a real business where you get referrals, where you are working with your ideal clients, when you are making a real impact in somebody's life, you've got to be yourself. You've got to show yourself. You've got to recognize what's going on with other people, whether it's individuals or groups of people. You need to take the time to do that. And it's give and take. And it doesn't have to be give and take in the same moment either. But when you are a good person, and when you are caring, and when you help others, it comes back. And I think that's really the key. Take off the dollar sign glasses and just see people for who they are. And then businesses grow.
I think, like you said, with social media, because unfortunately it's not going away, thank God for me. But they know if you're not your authentic self. They can pick out a fake a mile away. And I'm sure you use social media to grow your business, but how have you grown your business besides word of mouth? What else have you done?
So networking groups work really well for me. We met in a networking group called Fem City, and that has been just the most amazing women. It's hard to find a bad egg in there. They're just the most amazing women. I'm sure that either of us can talk to people if they want to know a little bit more about that. So that has been huge in terms of growing my network, in terms of being cheerleaders for other people and finding cheerleaders and being with like-minded people where I can I can use their services or products, and they're in a mindset where they're ready for what I have to offer as well. And not everybody, and that's fine. But every conversation you have, there's some kind of learning or growth that comes from it, or referral that comes from it. It's not about the dollars in that moment. So that has been absolutely huge for me. My podcast has actually been really big as well, because it's given me access to health coaches, doctors, people who are willing to research, who are learning to look outside of the norm, who are accepting that nutrition has a bigger impact than, most day-to-day doctors are telling us, or I would say understand themselves, because most doctors have had about an hour of nutrition training in all of their years of medical school, but we trust them to give us the medical advice in a nutrition way. So there's a big disconnect there. So, but having access to my podcast guests has been huge, because it allows for learning and for more amazing, deep conversations about the way the world's working and how we can help other people. So that's been huge for me as well. And of course, the listenership. It's great when you put out a podcast and somebody messages you, says, okay, I'm ready to work with you. And you don't even know their name, but they know your dog's name.
Which is very cute, by the way.
She's over here.
Oh, is she there? Your brand new puppy.
Yeah, she's 5 months, but she's learned I say to her, Callie, want to go to work? And see, her ears just moved. And she runs down here and she sits on the carpet and she waits for a little treat. And then she chews for about 20 minutes and goes to sleep. You know what? You asked earlier, like, how do people do it? And I don't mean to compare us to dogs, but maybe I should. It's the routine.
Yes,
routine. She knows that when I say it's time to go to work, she runs down here, she gets a treat, she chews, she goes to sleep, she gets praise. Yeah. All the things happen when when I set my alarm to make sure that I take a couple of deep breaths, or to make sure that I drink some water, or get my clients to do it. It's that routine that then becomes easier for us to do it, so that we can thrive through it. So sorry to bring it back.
No, that's perfect, because I just started putting things in my calendar of, now typically on a Monday, I don't get up at 8:00 in the morning because it's my day off. That's like my Sunday. My husband and I will just lay around, whatever. Well, the past 2 Mondays, it's in my calendar. 8:00 in the morning, I'm up and out of bed, making my smoothie, doing my little chores in the morning, and then I'm getting dressed. And since putting it in the calendar, I'm good with appointments. I'm like, oh, that's my appointment. I got to get up and do it. And I want that to become a routine.
Yeah, and that will inevitably help your health too, because then you're getting your little task done and you're not getting nervous or stressed about it at 3:30 before the kids come from school or what have you, because our emotional stress has a huge impact on free radicals within the body and oxidization on the body. And if you don't understand that, think of it like cutting an apple or banana open and leaving it on the counter and coming back an hour later and it's kind of browned. Right? We don't want to speed up that browning in our body, because it means that our cells are going to deteriorate faster than the other cells are ready to duplicate. So we're going to be living on half good cells. So we want to keep those cells as happy and healthy as possible. And it's not just toxins. It's not just the mold in our wall or the toxicity on our food or in our cleaning products. It's also our thoughts and our stress as well.
Yeah. So what are a few things you've learned about yourself since owning a business?
Oh my. I've learned that ease and consistency is key for me. And that although I was always told as a teacher how organized I was, the truth is that I wasn't. I just had to overcompensate. So, but I had been doing that for 15 years. So starting again from scratch I relearned that about myself, and some learning issues that I'd had as a kid in elementary school have come back up, and I just learned how I compensated for it in a familiar environment and how I had to recompensate for it in a different environment. So I've learned a lot about myself in that way. I've learned that I'm good at what I do, and I'm good at personal relationship because I care.
Mhm.
And that's key. And I've, I even help others grow their business. I'll come into some teams or some organizations, and I'll teach people how to network with integrity, because that's really important for me. So I've learned that I am a natural or born teacher. Even though I left teaching, I never stopped teaching. And just my ability to dream now is so different, because it was impossible to have a dream of creating an impact bigger than the classroom, or bigger than the years teaching times the amount of kids in my classroom. I can do anything now that I want to, and I can see it too.
And that's a good lesson for your kids to learn, because they're taught so differently nowadays, but to see that their mom started their own thing, and you and your husband started this podcast, and it's so successful, and to teach them that, I think that's a great lesson for them.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think about that a lot, is what is the message that I'm sending my kids here? And I don't want to give them the message that they have to be stuck in a job that they're just going through the steps in. But I do, having seen what happened with not all, but some of the millennials, I want to make sure that they have a good sense of work ethic and responsibility, and keeping to their promises and seeing things through, but that it is okay to change in the right season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if you have a bad day, what's one thing you do to get out of that funk? Because one day I'll just wake up and I'm just in a funk. I don't want to deal with anything. I don't want to do with anything. And you get stuck. What do you do on a bad day?
Sure. So meditation is part of my day every day. And often when I'm stuck in that funk, it's because I've missed the timing of the meditation. So I make sure that I've done it. And if I have done it, I might do a different meditation. And do it again. If it's really bad, I might write a letter, and then I might actually burn the letter or drown the letter. Does that make
I've
sense?
heard that.
Over soak the letter, or rip it up into 100 pieces and go throw it out in a trash can, not in my house. So I might do that just to release it and not keep that energy with me. I'll take a redox mood. I'll take a redox mood to feel a little bit more grounded, help that stress melt away. When things are made with adaptogens are plants that have overcome the environment and still been able to thrive, right? So we're talking about flowers that are blooming in deserts, or plants that are being grown in the top of mountains that are icy, right? And that helps the body deal with the issues that the body's dealing with too. It helps the body adapt as well. So those are some of the things that I do. And sometimes I'll push through my work and just sometimes we just got to do things. But if I have the luxury of not having a set endpoint or due date for the project that I'm working on, I'll just, I don't know, watch Grey's Anatomy, go in the infrared sauna, play with the puppy, take a half an hour nap. I've earned the luxury of being able to take care of myself by taking back my power of not working for someone else.
Yes. I don't miss working in the corporate world whatsoever. I can't see myself going back there. I really don't.
Yeah, no. And there were times where I thought about it before I when I was in that area of sickness, I had thought about it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to go back to work. I need a salary. I need sick days. I need I need a pension. I need long-term disability. Like,
Mhm.
my mind went to this place of scarcity, but never again. I have the tools to do it. I've built a great business. Um, are some months better than others? Sure. But if I've had good months, I can have them again. Um, yeah, it's a luxury. It's amazing.
So what's one message you want to leave with everyone today?
That's a really great question. And I think that the major message is that we don't have to settle.
Mm,
And I think I'm just going to leave it there. I mean, I'll elaborate, but I'll end the sentence there. We don't have to settle. So whether you are not being successful in your business, you don't have to settle. There's people that can support you. You can start again. You could relaunch. You could do the exact same business and just start again from day one. You don't have to settle with your fatigue, with your discomfort, with your brain fog. There's no such thing as, well, I'm in my late 40s, menopause, it's on its way, so that's why I'm forgetting everything and I have to just deal with it. No, there are tools that we can use to overcome that, right? You don't have to settle with your genetics, with your autoimmune diseases, with your hormone dysfunctions, with the thing with diabetes, the things that our family has gone through. We can we could turn those light switches on and off in positive and negative directions. Just because it's been like that for everybody else in our family doesn't mean that it has to be like that for us. So decide where you're settling and figure out what you're going to do about it. Yeah. And if anybody wants to bounce anything off of me, I'm really easily accessible on Facebook. I'm happy to leave you a voice message with some encouragement that you can do it.
and she does encourage you. When I was going through a bad time, a couple of years ago, we all were during COVID, but for me, I lost 2 family members within a couple months, and I would get little messages or little, how are you doing? Hope you're having a good day, kind of thing. And yeah, she's a good person to have in your corner. So I will include, excuse me, I will include all your contact information in the post, but how can people get a hold of you?
Thank you. So like I said, the easiest way to get a hold of me is on Facebook, Shoshana Chaim. I'm wearing a pink top and curls, so you could find me there. I'm at Plant Trainers right now on Instagram. I don't have my personal Instagram yet, but usually if you message there, it's me getting back to you. And shoshanachaim.com is really the hub for all things that I do. And you could learn a little bit more about my story with my husband and my own personal health there as well.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being the first one of 2022 of my interview series.
I'm super excited and I'm honored that you chose me. So thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing for your audience. I know that they're going to learn so much throughout this series.
And that's what I want this to be about, people learning. So our next one is actually Thursday. I want to say at 2:00, and it's with Robin Taney. So I can't wait to have you guys meet her. And thank you again so much for doing this. And this will be uploaded to the group. And again, if you have any questions, let us know. We'll talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.